Ajá, son amigos. Sí, vamos.
Salvi, was kind of a long road trip, 17 days, just, 4 series, 2 regular season, 2 playoffs. Just wondering what it's been like for you.
Good. We're in postseason, so pretty good. Excited that we got back home.
Anything stand out from that?
No, we're excited to be back. Can't wait for tomorrow.
Salvi, about tomorrow, you have a lot of guys with playoff experience on this team, but only you with the Royals. I wonder what you have told people or what you anticipate about.
Have fun and enjoy. It's gonna be a lot of people here. Now the boo is gonna be for them, not for us, like it was in New York. So super excited. Even the fans deserve that. That we support us all season long. So now I can't wait for tomorrow. Let's see.
The feelings of 2014 and 2015, is that part of your excitement, the way that felt then, to be able to be back in this?
Yeah, that's one of the parts that I wanna see the stadium full. I was in 14 and 15, and I just tell this guy to have fun and enjoy.
Salvi, how helpful is it to be able to have support from veterans who have had postseason experience, especially when you guys are trying to lead the younger guys on the team?
I did help a little bit, get some good advice from the veteran guys. They've been in postseason before. Anything that I can get for a veteran guy to try to help me, I think it's good. But I think it's good, anything to help.
Hey, Salvi, I'm just wondering what you remember about the atmospheres here in 2014 and 2015.
Everything. I feel like yesterday. I know it's not year, but now that I'm postseason right now, I feel like yesterday. Super excited. The loud is gonna be tomorrow. Super excited to be back home.
Salvi, you guys offensively have kept the line going, is kind of the term you guys have used. Just what have you seen from the offense, and how important will it be to get Bobby and Vinny to be a part of that going forward?
They compete every day. They prepare themselves every day. They keep everything they have to try to help the team to win. It's pretty good. I think we just need a concentration day by day, every at bat, and I think everything's gonna come good for us.
Hey, Salvi, have the young guys on the team asked you about what the experience is like playing in the postseason here, and what have you told them?
They have fun. It's going to happen super quick. Just enjoy the moment, have fun, and don't try to do too much, After the first pitch, it's the same game, So just have fun, enjoy, and nobody's going to hit one homer. It's going to count 10 runs. So, it's just have fun and play the game.
Salvi, what do you think about Michael? He's struggling a lot in September, but playoffs have started and he's really turned it on. What do you think about?
Pretty good. He's ready. He played playoff before in Venezuela, final in Venezuela. So he's ready. I don't think he's afraid anything, It's good for us, He tried to help the team to win.
What's that atmosphere like in Venezuela when you're playing in those games?
I should ask him. I don't know. I never played final in Venezuela.
Salvi, Jazz Chisholm said that it was luck yesterday that you guys won. What was your reaction to him saying that?
I don't worry about that. What's the next question?
One other memory thing. The night of the wild card game in 2014, did you feel that changed everything for the team, for you guys, the way you came?
Say that again, sorry?
The night of the wild card game in 2014, did you feel that night sort of helped change everything when you guys won and advanced?
In 14? Yeah, I think that helped us, no? What do you mean?
Exciting to you as it was to the fans? I mean,
Yeah, I think excited for everybody. After you win again and playoff and home, walk off, that was 2014, I think everybody excited.
Salvi, Bobby hasn't hit very well so far in this New York series. Sometimes I think he feels like he's got the weight of the whole team on his back. What advice would you have for him to kind of get home here?
Yeah, not put too much pressure on yourself, Take what they give it to you. you know, and let the guy behind you doing his job. They send to Benny. I don't think they try to do too much, you know. First time playoff, they learn how to play in playoff and all that. I think he's going to be fine. He's the best player we have.
How important has it been? I mean, everyone else has hit behind them and picked up. You guys won one of the games and almost won the other game. Everyone else is kind of doing their part right now.
Yeah, 100%. Everybody tried to doing a little bit to help off the win. So I think we're playing really good right now.
What do you expect from Seth Lugo tomorrow against this lineup and with, you know, his best assets that would kind of go?
I expect wins, you know. It's not the way we have to think about it. I'm going to say the opposite. He's a veteran guy. He knows how to pitch in big league, you know. And he approves that all season long. So I think he's going to be ready. And I expect to win every time we play in playoff.
Hey Seth, can you take anything away from the game a month ago against the Yankees at the Bronx, where I believe you had 7 innings, 10 strikeouts?
I mean, you know, a month ago, that's a long time. You know, I felt like I was pretty focused that game and executing pitches, and you know, that's what I'm gonna try to do tomorrow.
This is your first year in Kansas City, but I wonder just your impressions of the fan base so far and kind of how they've embraced you and what you're looking forward to pitching in front of them tomorrow.
I mean, it's been great. You know, they bring a lot of energy. You know, I'm excited to see a full house tomorrow. I'm excited to see how loud it's going to get. And, you know, they've been behind us all year, and we couldn't be where we're at without them.
Salvi, or I guess, do you remember watching those 2014-15 teams, what kind of it was like here back then?
Yeah, I remember watching some of those games. You know, it was pretty crazy. You know, I think, you know, I know they're a good fan base. They understand the game, and, you know, they're going to bring it tomorrow. It's going to be really exciting.
Seth, how does it feel to be back in Kansas City after such a long road trip? And what are your takeaways from that road trip?
I mean, it feels great. You know, it feels like we've been gone for a month. You know, excited to get back. You know, I think, you know, with how busy the past couple weeks have been, you know, getting home tonight and have a nice home-cooked meal, it's going to treat me good.
Remember the feeling when you left? You guys have lost that homestand, and now you come back here in the playoffs.
Yeah, you know, that was tough last homestand, but, you know, playing October, that was the ultimate goal, and here we are, so embrace it.
Seth, what stands out to you about the bullpen and the playoffs so far?
You know, they're out there working. They're making good pitches. They're getting big outs for us. You know, I know it hasn't been the easiest year for a lot of those guys, but you know, our whole team, our whole staff, we trust them. And you know, when we hand them the ball, we know they're going to go out there and do their job. That's what they've been doing.
Kind of on that front, you guys have had a lot of turnover. You know, from the first time you guys saw the Yankees, and just a month ago, there's been turnover with different people in different roles in the bullpen. Kind of, how's that been as a starter to kind of watch that process find its way through to where it is right now?
I mean, it's really cool. You know, with Erceg closing out games for us, you know, his stuff's electric. You know, I feel like, you know, any of those guys could come in whatever part of the game and they're going to execute pitches, and they got really good stuff. You know, as a starter, you know, handing the ball off to those guys, it's an easy thing to do, and you feel great when they take the rock behind you. So for me, it's a matter of just being aggressive and, you know, trusting that if anything happens, those guys are going to come in and bail me out.
There are a couple of big names on each side who are struggling so far. As a pitcher, can you sense that and use that against a hitter?
Well, you know, I don't think in their mind they're struggling. I think pitchers are executing pitches against them, and you know, that's key to pitching. So, you know, that's my goal for tomorrow.
So he seems like have a patient lineup and take a lot of pitches, work the count a lot. What's the key to attacking that?
Well, executing pitches, you stay in the strike zone. If you leave it over the middle of the plate, they're gonna put a good swing on it. But if it's borderline, they're probably gonna take it. And if you can get some calls, then you put the pressure on them. So that's pitching.
Just to piggyback off of that, you guys talked a lot about first pitch strikes throughout the season. How important would that be, particularly against Judge and Soto, and trying to neutralize them?
I think it's very important. They're some of the best mistake hitters in the league, and when you get ahead 0-1, you put the pressure on them. Then it's easier to execute pitches when you're ahead in the count, opposed to being behind in the count. Behind in the count's when you make mistakes. It's when you leave stuff over the middle of the plate for them to hit. So getting ahead, that's really important with this lineup.
Everyone watches TV and they see the little strike box up there and it's strike or not strike. How much, pre-scouting do you do on like who the home plate umpire is going to be? Do you ever try to pitch a different way on any of that stuff?
I mean, going into a start, we may mention who it is, and if he's got a little biased on one side of the plate or another, or up or down. But at the end of the day, you're not going to try to throw those pitches out of zone and hope you get a call. You're still going to try to make good pitches on the corners, on the edges, and if you can do that early in the count, then you don't have to throw over the middle of the plate. But we're a little conscious of who's umpiring.
Seth, what have you learned about yourself going through this season? It's transformation back into a starter, which is what you used to be. What have you learned about yourself as you've gone? And your results have actually, at the end of the season, gotten better than maybe in the middle a little bit.
I don't know. I don't know how much I've learned right now. I'm not really focused on that. I know it's a long season. I know no matter what happens, you gotta show up the next day and prepare and perform. And like you like to say, it's all about today, not yesterday or tomorrow.
Seth, how organically did you and Salvy's relationship kind of blossom over the course of the season that you guys can have that chemistry to go into a game of this magnitude tomorrow and thrive?
Well, I think we're both professionals. We go about scouting and our pitch sequencing a little different, but I think we respect each other enough to have that blend together instead of it being a fight. It's more of an effort to kind of find a middle ground, and that I think that helps us out a lot. It's it's kind of hard to explain, but it's pretty cool when it comes together.
Just maybe like on that front, you've pitched to Mean a lot this year too, just because they've gotten Salvy all that rest. How do you factor that in when you're pitching to different catchers and maybe those discussions about which sequences and all that?
Well, I mean, it's a little easier with Freddie because when he's not catching, we sit there on the bench and we talk about, what I would do here, what he would do here. When Salvy's not catching, he's playing. So, we don't get to have those conversations in between games because he's playing every day. But, like I said, the professionalism and the respect we have for each other, it just kind of comes together. We don't have to really think about it. All right, thanks.
Is the mantra, let's not get back to New York, or are we taking it one day at a time?
Yeah. Well, we just got here about an hour ago, so we'll, that's what we do, right? I mean, you can't be thinking about Game 4 before you even get to start Game 3. There's so many things, you can't take anything for granted. Our guys are just going to come out here and be excited about the opportunity. We're much happier coming back here 1-1 than being down 0-2. And I think that's a really good thing for us and for our fans to know there'll be 2 games here. We just got to go after Game 3 the best we can.
How much will it be important to be more efficient to kind of help the bullpen? I know you kind of use a lot of guys the last couple of games in this Game 3 that's coming up.
Well, we'd love that, but with the day off today, it's not the most important thing, but they're rested for the day off, just like the Yankees bullpen is. But yeah, clearly if Lugo has a good start, that's going to put us in a good position.
How does it feel to be home?
Yeah, it's been a long time. It kind of dawned on us all, I think, sometime in the last couple of days. It's been over 2 weeks since we left for that last road trip. It's almost unheard of, except in this scenario, to go on a 4-city trip But I'm really happy we did, because otherwise we wouldn't be sitting here talking about playoff baseball.
In particular, I mean, obviously clinching the playoffs and beating the Orioles, but anything stand out about all those days away for you?
Well, those two things are pretty big ones. Yeah, I mean, you kind of nailed it. I mean, just, we clearly weren't playing our best baseball when we left. That was a rough homestand. We got to D.C. We were able to sweep that series, which was a huge momentum swing for us. Going into the last series knowing we had a magic number of 1. Would have loved to handle it ourselves. Didn't happen that way, but the guys really appreciated the fact that we were able to celebrate that night, and then set up our pitching for the rest of the way.
Thank you. I know y'all are fired up, everybody's fired up to play at home, but it may sound odd. Do you have to temper the excitement just a little bit?
I don't think so. These guys are pros, man. They understand, that you can't, it's not football, right? You can't do it on pure emotion. You can't give a speech and run out of the tunnel and you win, right? You got 9 innings to play, and you got to take it one pitch at a time, and that's what our guys have really embraced.
Bobby obviously hasn't hit the way he's wanted to this series. I wonder, first of all, if you've noticed anything, but second of all, how much just the fact that he's sort of gone through the whole regular season of not worrying about that sort of thing and just putting it behind him, and how much that practice helps him in the season now.
Yeah, I think that would help him tremendously. I think he's also been pitched extremely tough. He's gotten, I was thinking about it on the plane today, he's gotten to, I don't know how many, 3 or 4 3-2 counts, and just expanded a little bit. If those are walks, we're talking about he's seeing the ball well, he's getting on, he's likely to have stolen a couple bases, those kinds of things. So that's the fine line in this game. It's not hard, it's not easy to do, right? It's not hitting is really tough, and when you're somebody like Bobby that everybody's bearing down on at all times, you're going to get their best.
Matt, I'm just wondering for you, managing, is there a different level of adrenaline? In a way, in the last couple of weeks, you were almost in the playoffs before. But since it's the actual playoffs, is it something that juices you in a different way you have to work with?
I don't know. It's been exciting for sure. I can't sit here. I have 4 playoff games under my belt, so it's not like I'm a seasoned vet at this. But it's been really fun. I think when you know you're in a playoff situation, we've talked about this since August or July, we're in a playoff race. And then things in September got kind of hairy, and it was pretty much like we got to figure this out. And a lot of those games we approach that way. Now the difference is with the off days built in and stuff, you can manage the games differently. But I do feel like those last couple weeks helped me and helped us get into that mentality.
And just one other thing with September, late August and September, some of the difficulties, but also some of what you learned about the team, has that enabled you to know the team to a different degree in the postseason and what things you're working with?
I think it's more of the same of what I did know. It's an incredibly selfless group of guys, guys that are able to put things behind them quickly, guys that are able to keep it light in there, because it's easy to think, oh man, it's not going well or whatever, and then your mood, it's all of us, human nature, right? Your mood can kind of snowball in the wrong direction, but they've done the opposite. The mood's been great. They've been picking each other up. They've been keeping it light. All the things that they have to do to perform at their best.
Similar to Bobby, Vinny is obviously working to get going. What gives you confidence that he's close with his timing? Obviously, you kind of knew maybe it would take a little bit for him.
Well, I've seen a lot of positives from Vinny, to be honest. He's squared that ball up yesterday on Rodon. I think that was 99. He's taken a couple walks. Yesterday was another example of he was just out in front of a couple things. You'd rather see the guy just out in front than late all the time. He laid off a couple tough breaking balls in the dirt as well this series. And then going back to Baltimore, we threw him right in there, a couple hits, a walk, big RBI. So what he's done in this short period of time is remarkable.
Big baseball city, what's it been like to see the reaction from Kansas City? Seen the scenes from 13 and 15, expect tomorrow too.
Yeah, well, some of the things that have been sent to me have been, pretty emotional, to be honest. When you've watched them, my wife and I were watching some of the stuff in the hotel today, whether it was the crowd last night at Arrowhead or the scene from Power and Light the other day, or we even got a thing from the Kansas City Symphony that played Take Me Out to the Ball Game. So those things have all been sent to us, and I think it's awesome. I mean, everywhere you go, you're just driving in here today, there's a lot of Royals stuff out on lawns and stuff like that. So, I mean, that's what you want. I mean, you want your community behind you, and you want to be behind them and give them something to cheer for.
Last night, Salvi, Yuli, and Tommy all came up big time to help out in the fourth. What kind of roles were envisioned for Yuli and Tommy when they were brought on, and kind of how had they helped Salvi with the young players, given their experience in the postseason?
Well, I can't say I knew I knew Yuli from watching him on the other side of the field and always respected him as a hitter. I mean, he was an incredibly tough out. Now, we got him at a point where he hadn't played for a couple weeks. We really didn't know what to expect, other than the fact that everything we had heard about him as a person and a teammate was off the charts. So as he's worked himself back into better health with his hamstring, his at-bats have been phenomenal. And what it's done for us is give a really, really good bat to put behind Salvi. And then when you add Vinny back in there, things just get a lot longer. Tommy, I knew for sure was going to love it here. His competitiveness, the fact that we were squarely in a playoff race, and that he was going to get consistent at-bats. I had no doubt that guys were going to see the kind of competitor he is and the worker, and that he was going to fit right in.
Matt, I know you got to get through Game 3, but you know you're going to play Game 4. Do you have a starter for Game 4?
Yeah, Waka will go back out in Game 4.
Q, when we're watching on TV or whatever, you're at the mercy of watching the little grid, see what's a strike or a ball. It doesn't always seem super consistent from game to game as we go. How do you manage through that with your pitchers? I expect the veteran guys are probably cool with whatever, but like making sure that they just keep doing what they need to do to pitch regardless of how these things are getting called on a particular night, and how much maybe study do you do on who's going to be the home plate umpire on a certain night?
Well, that part of it, I know Salvi puts a lot of time into that, and some, the umpires that have been around for a long time, you understand some of their tendencies, and they're human. They're going to broaden certain parts of the zone and shrink other parts depending on the hitters. It's just kind of, we know the strike zone is not that box, right? It never has been, and it's just more of a moving target, so to speak, around the zone sometimes. And that's the same for both teams. So we don't spend a whole lot of time on, you need to pitch this way because of this person umpiring or whatever the case is. You have to execute your pitches and hope, for really good teams like the ones that you're playing in the playoffs, you have to be able to beat guys in the zone. So we need to challenge the zone at all times and make them make as many decisions as they can. So we don't spend a lot of time on that. Now, if something in game seems to be going terribly one way or the other, we'll talk to the umpires. We'll have, Salvi does a great job of it. He has tremendous respect from them and for them. And, we'll all speak up if we need to, whether that's in an individual conversation or, the guys will give it to him from the dugout. It's part of the game. Both sides do it all the time.
You guys you've been able to hold Aaron Judge in check so far through a couple games. Is it a lot to expect that that's going to continue the way it has so far?
Sure. I mean, he's one of, if not the best hitter in the game, one of the most elite hitters in the last decade. We've pitched him tough. We have to continue to do that. You can't take for granted, we've got him. Like, there's none of that. I mean, you have to execute every pitch every time he's up there. Same with Soto, and when we've seen already, their lineup is plenty deep. Chisholm's done damage, Verdugo's done damage, Volpe's swung the bat. So, Judge is clearly one of the two guys that everyone focuses on, but you need to execute pitches regardless of who you're facing.
Matt, how much do you feel like being in such a tight race in September help you solidify the bullpen roles that you're using now?
Yeah, I think a lot. Yeah, especially it's been a huge addition when Zerpa came back up and really was throwing the ball well, developed the breaking ball, built his confidence back to where it seemed like it was early in the year, if not more. Sam Long's been really good almost the whole time he's been with us. And unfortunately, some of those roles evolved because of guys getting hurt. MacArthur got hurt, Stratton, Will, so all those things play a role in it. But definitely those guys pitched in a lot of high leverage down the stretch.
Back up against a righty starter tomorrow, and you've had Massey at leadoff, but given the way that Michael has swung, do you think about keeping him up there at all against a righty?
I will think about it. I mean, I have not come up with a batting order for tomorrow yet, so I'll like I kind of did yesterday, write up probably 10 to 20 different lineups and just see where they go.
Q, how do you strike the balance between what the numbers may say facing a lineup a third time for a starting pitcher versus how they feel in the moment and then how they're pitching in a game?
Yeah, try to balance it out the best we can. You know, these first two games have been kind of unique. The Waka's game, you know, I felt like that was pretty high leverage right from the get-go, having second and third, nobody out, and working pretty hard through those first couple innings. And then yesterday's game was a little easier decision because Cole was gassed. I mean, that was almost 90 pitches in 4 innings, and he was working hard. So those off days certainly helped to be able to go to the pen. Now, we might not be able to do that both of these games, nor do we want to, so we will have to strike that balance.
How short after last night's game did your guys become aware of Jazz Chisholm's "they got lucky" comments?
I don't know for sure when they heard it, or, you know, I know when I was leaving the ballpark, I heard that had been said.
Did your guys have any reaction to it?
Not really. I mean, it wasn't something that they heard it. I can't speak for every single one of them if they reacted to it, but it wasn't something that was like everybody's got to hear this kind of thing.
Just, you've been gone for so long. Did you pack knowing you were going to come back on October 8th? What was your confidence level there? And like, what'd you maybe miss about Kansas City while you were gone?
I did. I packed for every possible day we could have been gone. That was my confidence level and hope that was what was going to happen. So we were ready. I was ready for that. I know my wife's suitcase was heavy too, so I know she was ready for that. No, it's fun to be back. You know, I mean, we clearly, that was a huge goal of ours, was to get back here and play a home playoff game, and now to have 2 of them guaranteed is even better. You know, you miss sleeping in your own bed, the comforts of like having your own fridge and all that stuff. And, you know, it was great though for me personally, because my family came for this whole week, and that was awesome, because so many times in the past when my kids were really young, they'd stay back and then you'd be gone. Even that COVID year, 50-something straight days without seeing them, being in the bubble, and then to have them be part of this and just kind of understand a little bit more what's going on has been tremendous.
I wonder I know Salvi's rested and gets these with the off days and everything, but with Freddie, do you think about putting him in somewhere, given how good he's been behind the plate for you guys, and then he's come through in some big spots offensively? Yeah,
we have talked about it a lot, and we wouldn't be here without what Freddie's contributed to the season. But at the same point right now, the way Yuli's swinging the bat, we got Vinny back, you know, we're not going to put someone out of position to force something. But if the need is there, or there's a pinch hit situation, we would definitely consider Freddie. Or if we run for Yuli and Salvi goes to first, there are ways that Freddie could play a big role in this.
Thanks so much.
All right, thank you.